All right, I see that we are on now. Thank you for joining us once again. Let's get a few folk in here as we get ready for another talk about what weather we're expecting across the area. So we thank all of those people who are showing up slowly here. Let's get about 50 people before we start. But once again, we do have that winter storm warning. And since we last saw you, Warren, McKean, Venango, Forest, and of course, Mercer counties got added into the winter storm warning. We're close to our 50. We're at 35. It'll explode in a second as we talk more about the winter storm coming across the area. And we got the 50 now, so let's do it. David Walter is with us with his Darren Stevens sweater on. Hello.
Hello, sir.
And Sarah Tonks is with us, and it's a lovely sweater.
Thank you.
But nonetheless, sweaters are going to probably be very important because we are going to see some colder air after the system moves on through. And we do have, it's really good, David and Sarah, we timed this. I really feel like we're timing this perfectly with that rain and then that snow turnover for us. So right now we are seeing this on radar, as you can see there. Lots of green right now, and there's lots of rain there. And I'm not sure who wants to talk about it first, but I think the first thing that I'm very impressed with is this rain snow line. Look how small it is. We were really worried about this for the last couple of days and how this was going to affect us, either a rain turning to snow or having a period of icing across the area.
Yeah, and that's the thing with this. There wasn't really much of a freezing rain sleet threat in between because just the way the atmosphere cooled down, it went from temperatures around 35, 36 degrees, just probably a few 100 feet above the surface. And then once that cools down enough, as that colder air comes in, your whole column of the atmosphere is below freezing. So that's just going to support the snow. You don't really have any sleet or freezing rain. You actually need a warmer nose of air to kind of create that. So I think that's the reason why our snow line is just so pure without the mix in between.
Okay, make sure you ask your questions out here as well. And Sarah Tonks is here. David is here. Get our first question. Why such a big deal? It's not going to be like the Martin Luther King Day storm. That is coming from JJ, and I would like to address that. Why is this such a big deal? Because it's a lot of snow at one time. And in fact, if the snow totals prove out, it will be bigger than the Martin Luther King Day storm. And I think the other aspect to it, and tell me if I'm wrong, guys, we have a heavy wet snow component to this where we did not have that in the Martin Luther King Day storm. And I think that gives another added sense of, I don't want to say danger, but element of possible impacts across the area.
Yeah, I think that's definitely right because it's going to just make things slipperier. It's going to make shoveling harder just because it's kind of wetter and, of course, heavier. It could be more of an issue on snow accumulating on rooftops or awnings. We've already seen some stuff down in Meadville, their rec center. Brody has discovered his squeak toy. I apologize for that. So we've already seen some stuff having some issue with snowfall on roofs over the past couple weeks. So that's kind of the major thing here. And then this system is less of a concern to us now than it was over the weekend. It still obviously could have major impacts, but over the weekend we were seeing more snow totals. We were seeing a much wider mix ice band. So as those things have kind of calmed down a little bit, that's kind of on the good side, but it still has the potential to be an impactful system.
David, do you agree?
Yeah. I mean, I think impacts are going to be felt throughout the course of the day. And obviously, once we, again, get that switch over to snow, it's not going to stick instantly just because the ground is wet and it's a little bit warmer thanks to temperatures in the 40s. But once it starts sticking, then obviously the travel concerns come into play. And another issue, obviously, the city will face is, we've had some melting, but those snow mounds out there is still very, very large, the current ones we have. And so we'll add mounds on top of that too. And that's the reason why they're stressing the odd even parking, I believe, for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And just really kind of making sure that you leave enough space for the plows to come on through.
Yeah, yeah, and I think so. You make a very good point. We have seen domes and roofs collapse with the Martin Luther King Day storm, and that snow wasn't as heavy or as wet or had the rain.
Snow, yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, so a lot of people always say that we sensationalize things. But, you know, the thing about it is that there are a lot of folks who are trying to get groceries, trying to get their medications from the store. Folks have to get to the doctor. Some people have to go to work. They can't miss a day of work. And letting them know of a pending storm coming into the area helps them, you know, helps them decide their day. And this is where I'm fired up. This is why people sometimes like my Facebook Lives. The thing about it is, like, sometimes meteorologists and forecasters, not only us, anywhere, we don't get the credit of telling you last Friday that there was going to be the potential for a major storm. We told you last Friday. And on this big giant globe with a big giant atmosphere, we've pinpointed what's happening almost to the minute. But instead, there are folks who think that we are over sensationalizing things. All right. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get to the first warning weather futurecast here. Let's time out some of this for you. And this may have changed a little bit since the earlier morning for you, David, but
no, it's doing a really good job. It's lining up with where we're at right now. And so that's a good sign.
Yeah, so right now we got those rain showers coming on in widespread, and it looks like a little bit of a changeover as we head on into 10 o'clock here, and mainly out towards Harbor Creek, Wattsburg, out towards just to the north of Clymer. So that looks pretty good. And as we head to the 11 o'clock, we actually could start seeing some moderate snow moving on through. Davey made a very good point that it's been warm and the roads are wet. There's a lot of rain. So this may take a little bit before it starts piling up. But with an intense snow like that, it may happen pretty quickly.
That's the thing, yeah.
That's some deeper blues there. So that could happen pretty quickly out there. As we head into the overnight, we're seeing that rain snow line relatively moving small, but it's not slowly, but it's not necessarily gigantic. And I don't think it's necessarily staying in the same place, laying down tons of ice or sleet or anything like that. As we head into 3, 4 o'clock, let's go to 5 o'clock in the morning because both David and Sarah will be here. We can see widespread snow across much of the northwestern PA, western New York, northeastern Ohio. And I do think that we could see some icing well to the south, possibly in Oil City, possibly out into Kane, maybe parts of Sheffield, because we get that little wintry mix holding there for a little bit, but for the most part, it could be a lot of just some wet snow too, but that's a little bit of a concern as we head on in. Very quickly, you can see here, we get that first wave. Now we get that second surge of moisture that as that low comes on in, and you can see here those really deep blues. So there's the potential for up to an inch an hour into some areas with some of the snow. And this really continues through 6, 7, 8 o'clock before it starts winding down right about 9, 10, where it gets a little bit lighter. And as we head on through the overnight into Friday morning, you can see here that just a leftover snow shower or two before we start seeing that clear on out. So this is a long duration storm, and we feel that we could add up. Now, this is just a model here. Guys, give me your opinions on this. It's just a little quick model here suggesting the possibilities of final numbers here as we get into Friday morning. And again, we have to take into account the rain, the wetness, and the heaviness of the snow. Will it compact as it piles up? Sarah, David, Sarah.
Honestly, I'm tired of just looking at these numbers to an extent. I'm always like, okay, here it comes again. So you can see that there might be a little bit less along the lake shore. The main thing to think about here is that it's one of those widespread events. You can actually see Sheffield, Warren, maybe getting closer to 20 inches according to this model. So it's not going to be lake effect where one spot gets everything and another spot gets nothing. We're looking at pretty widespread, everybody getting a lot of snow tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of those inland numbers may be a little overdone just because of the wetness.
Yeah, I think so too. Those 17, 18 inches. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, if it was colder and we got to accumulate right away, yeah. And of course, with the fluffier snow, it stacks up more. With the heavier wet snow, it's got to, like you were saying, John, compact down a little bit. And for Warren and McKean County, you guys will get started late.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw in Futurecast before, this system has slowed down a lot. I feel like the models have certainly slowed it down, and obviously that's how it's moving on in. So you guys out there, obviously, we'll be watching that rain snow line all through the night into the early morning, but you can see even by 3-4 o'clock, it's just moving through places like Titusville, Tidiute, and even out there into Bradford. But once we all transition to snow, which will likely be, by more so the afternoon, we could have that sleet freezing rain component down there into Forest and Elk County. But the reason why I think Futurecast is showing so much snow back into the mountains is because of those deeper blues there. And yeah, that could be some heavy snow, but I also think it's that wet snow that will really be compacted. But I mean, some areas over there could get up to about a foot or so. I know that if you read the winter storm warning for Warren and McKean County, I believe it says 7 to 10 inches. That's from the National Weather Service. But I certainly think there'll be a few spots that are, around a foot, if not a little bit more. 18 inches, yeah, maybe a little overdone. But at the same time, sometimes we look too much into the numbers. And I'm not talking about us as meteorologists, although we are focused on numbers all the time. I think the general public in general focuses way too much on the numbers. It's really the impact. It's how it's going to impact your day. It's when is the snow going to be heaviest? When is it going to fall? Because you could have, the forecast could say an inch of snow for a day. If it falls during the morning commute, that is going to cause problems. And since this is going to be a widespread event from basically morning all the way through the night on Thursday, it's going to cause problems throughout the day. And it's obviously you relying on the plow crews, and the plow crews are going to have to do a lot because they have a lot of extra real estate to cover. And I mean, there's no escaping this winter storm. You can go down to Pittsburgh and they'll get a wintry mix. You go to Cleveland, Buffalo, yeah, they're getting just as much snow as we are.
Yeah, it's very interesting actually seeing a little bit of snow out there towards Kane, out towards McKean County, out towards Norwich as well. So you might be seeing a little bit of a preview of what you'll see a little bit later on. Questions? You got questions? Let us know here. Deborah says her daughter's getting out of work at 1 o'clock, lives in Jamestown. What do you think her drive will be? You're talking about 1 o'clock. Probably the transition from rain to snow. So I don't really see a heavy pileup of snow at that time, but it's definitely going to be wet with some snowflakes going. So just easy go. I don't think it's going to be horrible where you have to stay at work all day, but just tell her, take it easy out there. Stacy says she'll check with us kiddos tomorrow morning. Will it be okay for the kiddos? Sorry, coming home from school tomorrow. That's interesting. I think that a lot of schools are doing their flexible instructional days or their viral days. I'm like, I'm in my 50s, so this is all new to me. So I think that if folks are in school and traveling, I think in the afternoon, depending on the roadways once again, and where the temperatures are. I mean, if we look at this here, this is one of the things that I put together, and obviously always subject to change, but what to expect. And, maybe about 2 to 3 inches tonight. That's just depending on the turnover and how wet everything is. And then maybe 2 to 4, 2 to 3 early part of tomorrow. And then for the rest of the day, that's where we collect that 3 to 6, 3 to 7 inches. So I think in the afternoon is when we'll see the heaviest snow across the area.
And I like this breakdown. This is a beautiful graphic, John, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think once we get towards the evening hours, since temperatures are getting colder, you're going to get that lighter and fluffier snow. So actually the snow is going to kind of stack up like a cake almost. You're going to get like the denser part of it. That's the cake as we go through the day. And then you add like the frosting and maybe some sprinkles and the lighter stuff to the top of it. That's how I'm going to look at it.
Didn't I make this graphic last year and John's just making sure it's up to date?
Or you may have overridden my graphic. I mean, it doesn't matter. We all make the same graphics. But nonetheless, I'm sorry. I'm just reading some of these questions. How much snow will we get tonight? I think I'm answering that question on the screen now.
It's good to have this breakdown rather than saying, hey, we're going to get 8 to 12 inches over the span of, a little over a day. I mean, this is a good way to obviously just break it down.
I'm just reading some of these comments. Yeah, there are a bunch of school closings out there, and just head over to erienewsnow.com/weather and head over to school closings or text notifications, and you can sign up for them and have them delivered right to your phone, or you can look up to see what schools are delayed, canceled, or in-home viral videos out there. So that's what we're looking at. I kind of made this graphic too. This is another breakdown of the situation. And basically, between now and midnight, we're going to see the rain. Midnight to 1 o'clock, kind of see that transition generally. And we're talking more for the lakeshore and inland Erie County. Then as we head from 1 to 7 a.m., we're going to see some snow showers, but the heavier snow we'll see will be after 7 a.m. tomorrow to 11 p.m. And then from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m., things start tapering on down. So that's how it breaks down. But we're going to probably see some sort of precip throughout the day. But again, if you're looking to see when the heaviest is, it is going to be into the afternoon. I'm trying to think what else I can show you here that's of importance, of course. We can always talk about this too if you want another breakdown. And as we look at this graphic about this evening and tonight, the quick changeover, the second surge, that heavier snow coming in the afternoon tomorrow, and then a few flakes for you out there. Sarah, what is the most important thing people should know about tomorrow? And very quick, I'm sorry. Someone else said, why is this a big deal? There's 86 million people, I believe, under a winter storm warning.
Oh, it's crazy the extent. It goes from Texas all the way up to Vermont. It's like over 2,000 miles.
Yeah. There's almost 100 million, almost a third of the country is under a winter storm warning, and some folks wonder why we do what we do. Sarah, you have any comment to that?
First, I'm checking the exact number just because I'm curious about what. So winter storm warning, we got 64 million people. Ice storm warning, 5.6 million people. So
yeah,
a large number.
Yeah.
Some of the other things you want to keep in mind for tomorrow, keep an eye on where the heaviest snow is. If you are debating whether you want to go get groceries at 1 o'clock versus 2 o'clock, check to see what the conditions are. It might be better to delay it by an hour. I'm also checking the 511PA website. So that's 511pa.com. There is a tier 1 restriction on I-79, I-90, and I think I-86 in our region, as well as I-80. So that means that empty tractor trailers is what it's saying. But basically some things not allowed on the roads. So keep an eye on that because we could see some slushy conditions. 511PA also will tell you where the plows are, how long the roads were plowed, which can be helpful. If you have to travel, you can check to make sure your route is clear. And just be safe out there. Make sure you're checking on your neighbors. Make sure your neighbors have everything you need. I know I live in an apartment building, so some of my neighbors don't have cars. Some of my neighbors are elderly that live in the same building as I do. So make sure you're checking on everybody. Make sure everybody else has what they need so that we can all stay safe, because while you might be fully prepared for the system, other people might have a harder time with it.
All right. There is a question about the lake as well. Will the lake play an influence in this? And of course, David is you're close to a lake expert. You like this kind of stuff. So I don't really feel the lake's going to play any kind of role, but David can talk more about that.
Well, I didn't really look at the wind flow on Friday because I thought it was interesting with Futurecast. It was kind of hanging on to a little bit of a snow towards the lakeshore. Yeah. And I'm not sure if that's due to a northerly wind, because if we get a northerly or northeasterly wind, that will trigger a little bit of lake effect snow, because obviously you can see the blue area, that's where there's no ice. And this is typically the last spot to freeze over because it's the deeper part of Lake Erie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but I don't know if we want to look at winds maybe as we go over the next.
I'm going to pull up the future winds here.
And it is worth noting also that the ice coverage right off of Erie County, Northwest PA, has really dropped over the past 2 days. We went from like 90 to 100% coverage to 40 to 60.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is interesting here. You kind of see the front there.
The front right there. Yeah.
You can see the front right there. If you're watching, these are the winds. I know some folks are concerned by the winds. Now we're going to see a little bit more winds, and just real quickly, Friday as temperatures drop, we're really going to start seeing some very cold wind chills back to -5, -10, maybe 15 below as we head on into Saturday. So we're not totally done when the snow goes on through, but as we look, as we get into the morning, we do have that northeasterly wind, and these are sustained winds, by the way, not wind gusts. And as we go through the day, they're pretty.
I feel like with the, sorry to interrupt you, John. I feel like with that, we could maybe get a little lake enhancement near the lakeshore because we're coming in off of that open part of the lake. So that's an interesting point. I'm kind of glad that person brought up that question. It's not. This is not a true lake effect event. Let me just throw that out there. It's ironic. Most of the lake freezes over. And people are like, oh my gosh, that's a great thing. And here comes a big snow system that could drop up to a foot on us. But yeah, you can see that's something we'll have to kind of watch to see if we maybe get a little bit of lingering lake effect on Friday. The thing is, what I saw earlier in the day, it didn't look like the atmosphere was overly supportive. Just because you have a northeasterly wind doesn't mean you're going to get lake effect snow in this case. You have to have all the other ingredients. I mean, weather is like a cake. I mean, you have to have all the right ingredients to make the cake.
Yeah, I just looking at the wind gust here, and yeah, they're going to pick up pretty good tomorrow. And I do know that, in the beginning, we're not going to see much in the blowing snow or reduced visibility, but as the temperatures drop and the snow gets lighter, we could see some reduced visibility. And here we're seeing some pretty good wind gusts as we head into the afternoon.
Yeah, that's a little bit higher than what I saw earlier in the day, but yeah, certainly, like you said, once the snow gets a bit fluffier, that's easier to toss around. And of course, we know with the MLK Day storm, I mean, one of the bigger problems was just the drifting in general.
Yeah.
I mean, that when you get big drifts and those big drifts are plowed up in a spot, obviously that takes up a lot of room. And I feel like with that storm, it just seemed like we had a lot more snow than what actually fell. And I think a lot of that had to do with drifting. And I know, John, you and I have kind of talked about the Christmas Day snowstorm before. Yeah, we got 40 inches in the span of 2 days. But could you imagine how bad that would have been if we got blowing and drifting snow?
Yeah, it literally would have been a state of emergency, more serious out there, of course. And yeah, there's no question we would have had 7-foot drifts. It would be literally. That would have been a disaster. The good thing about the Christmas Day storm was that it was Christmas.
Right.
So all families were basically with themselves anyway. Anyone traveling out of town was already in town, one. Number two, schools were closed, so there weren't that many people on the highway. All businesses were closed, not many people were out. And the most importantly, three, everybody had their Christmas dinner, so they had plenty of food. You know what I mean?
Right.
They didn't have to go out to restaurants, go shopping or anything, so they all were pretty good there. Let me break down tomorrow. We'll wrap this up in a second. If you have a question very quickly, let us know. Oil City, yes, Oil City's in the house. We do have 8 o'clock, got some snow showers. Noon, got some snow showers. This is not a hard forecast. 4 p.m. snow showers.
That's the nice thing about being a big low pressure system. We're not trying to concentrate on snow bands. This is like Oprah just giving away the snow to everyone.
Yeah, you get the snow. You get some snow. And temperatures, and as they drop, that snow will become fluffier. And I think that's where the reduced visibility. I really think the pain for driving tomorrow is going to be in the afternoon. There's just no question about that.
And then it's also kind of nice that the major temperature drop is happening overnight tonight. Instead of like you go to work tomorrow morning, it's in the 20s, you come home, it's in the 10s. We're staying pretty consistent. So how cold you are in the morning is going to be roughly how cold you are in the evening.
Yeah, no, exactly. So that's a good point. And, again, this is not the greatest storm ever to hit Erie, but it is a storm where last month we had very little snow. It was December. We only had like 10.5 inches of snow, just under 11 inches of snow. We doubled, quadrupled that in January, and we're basically going to be on our way here in February. And the thing about it is that we're finally seeing snow, and this is a really kind of inconvenient. And also considering the winters we've had in the past, you know, we're not really used to, not necessarily we're not used to, but we're not, it's not, it doesn't seem as common to see big snows move on by, especially a non-lake effect event.
Right. And just like, I mean, I keep telling people the last 3 weeks have been the longest 3 months ever because it literally feels like, we've gone through months and it's like been a horrible winter, but it's really been just the last 3 weeks because, again, prior to that, I mean, we came through one of the least snowiest Decembers on record. And then January, we weren't getting much. And then MLK Day came and boom, that's when, we got the snow. I was glad that fell on a holiday. The big problem tomorrow is that, we have kids going to school, and I know there'll be altered schedules and all that, but still, please be very careful in those school zones during the morning and the afternoon, because I know what's going to happen later in the day is that some of those piles, and this isn't plow drivers' fault, or it's not their faults or anything like that. When you get those big snow mounds that get pushed up on sidewalks because they're trying to get it off of the roadways. So that may be a concern for maybe some kids walking home later in the day. So hopefully we have enough crews out there to take care of the sidewalks as well.
Yeah. I just went through the future cast just real quick. We're going to wrap this up because David and Sarah need to get some sleep. But we're looking at that changeover right around 10, 11 o'clock tonight, where we'll start seeing some snow. It should be a fairly quick changeover from rain to snow. And you can see widespread snow through 3 and 4 o'clock and some moderate snow showers. But again, could be a little bit of time before it starts accumulating. However, there are some concerns with some of these deeper blues very quickly. That might pile up in some areas pretty quickly. And as we head on through the day tomorrow, you can see a very moderate snowfall, very possible. And then inland higher elevations, a little bit more intense snowfall could be moving on through too. So before it's all said and done with. It is weather coverage you can count on. Sarah and David are going to be here tomorrow morning together, tag teaming the weather for you. As you know, I'm always a phone call away if you need me, but don't call me unless there's...
Well, that's the thing. I don't know that we would be able to reach you tomorrow at 5 a.m.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to get me while I'm sleeping, but the phone, I do have a phone that's on silent, and believe it or not, you and David, you break the do not disturb. So you have an exemption.
I'm touched.
Yes, but don't call, unless there's some hot chocolate and some McDonald's here for me. But nonetheless, David and you will be here tomorrow morning very quickly. For all morning long. Of course, I'll be back into the afternoon. Remember, a winter storm warning is in effect. That basically means that we're all going to see some snow, some significant snow across the area, very possible. And it's going to be very challenging if you're doing some traveling. Very quickly, any last words? Briefly, I'll go to alphabetical order. David.
Well, I think if you're going to do any sort of shoveling tomorrow, now the thing is you might just want to wait, but at the same time, you don't want a foot of snow to build up and then you have to shovel it away. Just be careful shoveling, especially earlier in the day when you have that heavier wet snow. But even so, later in the day, you'll have that heavy wet snow at the bottom of your snow layer. And of course, it's a little bit lighter on top. So just be careful. Honestly, even when I do a little bit of shoveling, I just sometimes forget that you can't just like twist your body. And sometimes I feel like I'm 75 years old, not 35 or 34. I can't remember how old I am. Wow. But anyways, just be careful as you're doing that shoveling tomorrow, because it is heavier. We've been lucky to have the real dry stuff. What are you laughing at?
Brevity.
Oh, yeah. No, not
yes,
really.
I know us.
That's not how we roll here, John.
I have to tell me my personal story about not being good at shoveling.
Back when I was your age.
Yes. And Sarah, let's see what your belief of brevity is.
My vote is always do shoveling in shifts. Check on your neighbors. Be safe. Make sure your car is not parked on the wrong side of the road, so that the plows can get through and get their jobs done.
Oh, okay. That's a very nice sweater, David. Very impressed.
I know. I try. I
should have worn my little quarter zip.
Well, I only wore this because I have my pajamas on underneath this, and they're a little raggedy, but they're very comfortable. So
David's wearing his. Do you have little footsies in your pajamas?
No, but I'm wearing my Miami Dolphins sweatpants right now. They're
That's
very
terrible.
comfortable. The team's not very comfortable, but the pants are.
David still wears them.
I'm still wearing my running clothes from earlier today. So
Well, this
I'm very
conversation went really far south there.
That's the way it normally goes at the very end.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. Tanya, you stay safe. Julie, you're welcome. What do you think about 3 tomorrow? This is Michelle, big Bills fan. The snow will be heaviest then, Michelle. That's what we think. Stay safe. We're Mark Adams' favorite, and stay warm. Thank you, Kathy. And Karen loves footsies. So, so David, we know what we're getting you for Christmas. It's just basically an extension of your socks, right? They're just big, giant socks.
Are you gonna get me like the pink bunny suit, like on Christmas Story?
We should all get one.
That is hilarious. David, why do you give me these ideas?
I don't know. Everything comes back to A Christmas Story for me. There's so many like good scenes.
Yeah, that literally. Okay, the important part of this is over with, people. Now
Right.
it's very quickly. Yeah, when I saw it, I think it was like I want to say it was 10, 12 when I saw Christmas Story originally. I hated that movie. I could not stand it. But as I got older, it is the funniest Christmas story movie. I laugh at it, and in fact, in my house, I actually have a leg lamp.
You have the leg lamp, nice.
From the movie, and it's actually in my living room as a display. So
We don't have a leg lamp, but we do have several leg lamp ornaments and then like night lights.
Oh yeah.
The house is down in Cleveland. I haven't visited yet, but I know
My
in the
dad
movie.
has.
I know in
He
the
said it's
movie
really nice.
they're on Cleveland Street, but I think it's based in Indiana or something like that.
Yeah, were they? Yeah, I don't know. But I do want to go there, Cleveland. They do have a tour of it, and
Yeah.
I do remember when I worked in Cleveland, I used to go to that mall, that store where Santa was in that. So that's kind of cool. Very quickly, Karen McCown. She has to drive from Kane to Warren for work. She's very worried. You should be. You should probably allow yourself some extra time and take it very slowly. I don't know what time you're driving. If you're doing it in the morning, you're probably okay because it's probably just going to be changing over in that area from snow to rain. But afterward, it could be very tricky. So be safe.
Yeah,
And
down there,
you can track the PennDOT plows and just like kind of follow one if you can. If you
Holly's
time it
never
right.
seen the whole movie. She just can't get into it. Holly, it's hilarious. Eat
We
like a
watched it.
piggy. Eat like a piggy. David, come on. Eat like a piggy. No, you won't do it.
I'm just singing Fragile.
Fragile. It's Italian.
My family watches that movie every Christmas Eve, and we actually did manage to get a family friend whose name is Randy
Oh,
to
wow.
shove his face in some mashed potatoes one time. So that moment went down
Between
in
not
infamy.
eating food and can't put his arms down. He's
That's the one that I relate to the most.
Yeah,
What, not putting your arms down?
that one. Yeah, that was me. I don't know if you guys. Yeah, I used to wear a snowmobile suit. That's like a very 70s thing. My mother used to zip me up in that thing. And you couldn't move. You couldn't go to the bathroom or anything. And you got those snowmobile boots. And then we used to put like Wonder Bed, like plastic bread bags on your feet, which is probably not a smart idea to keep your feet dry. So when you
I
went
need
to school-
pictures of this.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad.
Like I've got a picture in my
I'm
head,
glad
but I
cell
feel like it
phones
doesn't
weren't
live up to
available back then.
live up to the real thing.
I'm one of those people who wishes we would just backtrack on technology because that sounds a lot cooler than all the stuff we have available nowadays. It's very
All right. Apparently, some people are getting upset about us talking, but we've basically have finished our portion, and we were just talking. But nonetheless, to ease a few people, let's say goodnight because you two do have to go to bed, and we'll see you
Yeah, if you
tomorrow.
need to watch this again, just scroll right back to the beginning.
That's right. Scroll back to the beginning and skip the parts you don't want to watch. All right, guys.
Deluxe.
All right, guys. You guys do good work. I know you do great tomorrow. I won't be watching, but I will watch when I wake up.
right.
It won't be at 5 o'clock. Although it might.
I'll try to make it to work on time.
You might still be awake. I'll be at work on time.
See, Michelle remembers the bread bags in your boots. Michelle, we're dating ourselves, and it was always Wonder Bread too, by the way. All right, we can go on for hours, but that would make someone here very upset. So let's just stop. All right, guys, I'll see you later, and I'll see you guys at 10 and 11. Good night.
Bye.
I don't know if we're still on or not.
We're still live, I think.
All right, we're still live. I think Doug fell asleep.
Where's Doug?
It's funny. We're getting people are defending us. They're telling the other people who are mad
Huzzah.
to